Welcome to a self-published author's diary. I am Elodie Novodatsky. I write about first time, second chances, things that scare the crap out of me, and things that make me laugh out loud. I'll be speaking with you and sharing my adventures in self-publishing, the behind the scenes of writing, and the business side of it. Hello, how are you all doing? I'm recording this episode on June 17th in my living room, surrounded by Plato the dog and Bobby Voltaire the cat, who are sleeping very peacefully, very chill. They're super relaxed. I sometimes wonder how I can describe in a book how relaxed my cat looks like. He's just sprawled on a chair and just has his paws hanging in the air and just is looking as if he knows I'm talking about him, but just really chill. Must be nice to be that relaxed. Today the podcast will be slightly different, and you might not realize it's slightly different. You'll have to tell me if you see the difference, but I usually draft my blog posts before recording the podcast, and I'm pretty much not entirely reading what I wrote, but it's not totally free-flowing. And so for today's episode, I am answering a question that I've received from a reader. I decided to answer that particular question that I will just answer it as I go, and then I will give you a quick update on my process for the cover reveal of The Leftover Bride. I'll tell you more a little bit about the budget that I'm looking at for that and what I'm planning on doing. If you're hearing noises in the background, it's the dog snoring. And I'm recording this in the morning. I usually record my podcasts during the afternoon, and I am more, I won't say awake. I usually write in the morning, and right now I've decided that I would try to revise this afternoon instead of revising this morning. I revise in the morning and I exchange messages with my critic partners, but they're currently both necessarily not working this particular morning, so I figured I would do my podcast, and then this afternoon I will revise. One of the questions that Amanda has sent me is, did you always know you would write and that people would read it? And where does that sort of confidence come from? Or is that really confidence? Like, she had a very interesting question because, so self-publishing for me is writing and it is publishing, right? And then it's not only crossing my fingers and hoping, it's also working towards having other people read my books. I mean, this is why I am doing the Mark Dawson's ads for author. This is why reading about what has worked for people, what has not worked for them. This is why I do Teaser Tuesdays. It's because I'm excited about my work, but it's also because I am trying to find ways to find readers. I want people to be able to read my work. I want people to love my work. I want people to be excited about my books coming out, despite the fact that, of course, once the book is out, it's with the readers, but it needs to be with the readers, meaning I need to find readers for those books. I am just not writing for the art of writing, even though, full disclosure, even if I would not be self-publishing, I would still write. And it's because I've mentioned before how writing for me is still one of my creative outlets, and it's an outlet that I need. It helps me stay balanced in a lot of ways. Like people go jog, and yes, I should also do more sports because it helps with, well, for me, it helps because of all the treatments that I've gotten to get back into shape. And when I mean into shape, it's more about on the healthy side, like it's important for me to do things so that my lung capacity continues to improve. It's important for me to work out because it helps with my neuropathy. Writing is another way for me to stay healthy in a way. It helps my mind stay healthy. And but I did not always know that people would read. I don't know if actually, did I always know that people would read it? Yes. Because even when I was in high school and I was writing, so in high school I was writing this grand romance novel of two people, very Romeo and Juliet-like. I think I had watched Romeo and Juliet actually at the movie theater not long before, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. And I may have watched it more than once at the movie theater, that particular Baz Luhrmann movie. I had watched a movie called Strictly Ballroom from Baz Luhrmann. It's like a 1992 Australian romantic comedy that was directed and co-written by Baz Luhrmann in his feature directorial debut based on the Wikipedia article I just pulled, which was then followed by 1996 Romeo and Juliet and 2001 Moulin Rouge. So in 1996, I'm gonna date myself, but I was 15. 14, 15, or 16, depending on when I saw it in France, because it may have come out in 1996 in English, but I actually watched that one, I think, with subtitles. The Romeo and Juliet one. I actually went to movie theater to be able to watch it with subtitles. It was ballroom dancing. Strictly Ballroom is also like two people that basically people don't understand why they're together. They're from different, like one dances, the other one wants to dance, and all of that. And in my mind, all those movies and the books I was reading romance novels in addition to, I read a lot of Mary Higgins Clark when I was that age. That really was one of the author that was an instant buy for me. Like I have pretty much all of her books from that time. When I wrote back then, I was giving the chapters to one of my friends. Yeah, she was very excited about the story. She wanted me to keep on writing it. And having that reader was really helpful to me to get on, to keep on working on the story, to know that somebody was excited about the story that I was writing was very motivating and was exciting and was fun. That's pretty much what I did afterwards with fan fiction. So I wrote fan fiction later because, the internet and all that stuff kept on like growing. And I wrote fan fiction and I was very, very, very excited every time I got a comment, every time I got a like, every time somebody started following my pen name or my stories. The audience was part of the writing experience. The only thing that maybe I wrote and did not share widely was when I was much younger, in junior high. I was maybe 12 or 13, and I was writing poems. At that time, I was listening to Les Misérables quite a bit because my eldest sister used to listen to Les Misérables pretty much every night, and our bedrooms did not have like a wall between us. I would basically listen to Les Misérables also every night as she listens to them. And so that kind of like got me thinking about a lot of social issues and all these things. And I basically wrote poetry about that. Yeah. And I think maybe the only ones who've read that poetry, and I'm wondering if I still could find I remember it was purple or blue notebook. I'm wondering where it is. It was maybe the one thing that I did not think about having people read. And here comes the second part of the question, which is a very hard part to answer. Where does that sort of confidence come from? Because I think sometimes I talk about how worried, not sometimes, but sometimes I'm very worried about like, oh, is it good enough? During the writing process, I have moments where I think that what I'm writing just is not up to par. Like it's not good. And it's not like, oh my God, it could be so much better. And why am I not as good as A, Y, Z, whatever book I've read or author I'm lucky to read before they're even published. But at the same time, what I self-published and what I publish are words that I feel confident in, that I think are good. By the time I publish it, I feel confident in the story that I've put forward, especially now, especially after 7 years of self-publishing. I do not think, maybe the very first story that I put out, it took much longer than I thought, like the entire process. Like I had a developmental editor at the time. I've had, copy editors and proofreaders. Like I went through an entire pretty big process for the very first book that I self-published. Afterwards, I didn't go through that much. And I think it's because I trusted myself more in the process. I trusted my writing more. And I've learned a lot through that very first book that I'm still proud of. I mean, it's still out there and people are still reading it. And it has great reviews. It has I think 4.5 reviews on Amazon. It's a great book. Reason why I self-published that one is because there was an author who I really admire who is published. She's multi-published. She has multi-books out now. And she sent me an email about a year after she ever beta read for me, or I can't remember, but she sent me an email and she's like, hey, I saw you talking on Twitter about 123. Do you have any updates on this book? Have you gotten an agent? What's happening? I was just wondering because it's such a wonderful book. And getting that validation from outside at the time was something that's made me think oh, maybe I can, look into self-publishing. Maybe I can do all of that. Maybe it's something that I could do. And then I made the mistake of maybe not adjusting my plan, and maybe I did not adjust my goals. I may have said I was going to say bushy-eyed, but that's not the expression. I was truly thinking that my book would be an overnight success, and it wasn't when I self-published it. But A, it still has readers today that are discovering the book, and B, it's still a book that I think I learned a lot through. When I decided to self-publish it, I thought okay, well, I'm going to create my own magic. I think that's the way I called it at the time, creating my own magic. I had gotten passes from agents, very complimentary passes. Some people just saying they didn't connect with the main character because I had to make her a bit more likable. And I think that goes back to what NS was saying a couple of weeks ago on the podcast about, having that save the cat moment, about how you want to make sure that the readers do empathize with and sympathize with your main character, even if that main character is what they call the not likable character. Maybe they're harder to connect with to a certain extent, but you need one moment. I do believe that you do need one moment where your character are either super intrigued or sympathize or empathize with your character. So I think in certain books, it can be that you really want to know what happens, in the sense of maybe they're very off-putting for whatever reason, because there is also an entire discussion about the likable heroine, which is another discussion I might have at a later point about what makes a likable heroine. Sometimes it can also be too much expectations, but it doesn't mean you cannot have one moment where readers are going to want to read 300 pages about that character and go on an adventure with them and go on a certain growth journey with them, because your character will go through changes throughout your book. There will be, most probably should be, a character arc in addition to a plot arc. Do I sometimes think that I was overconfident in publishing 123 or in self-publishing 123? No. I had gotten a lot of positive reviews. I had gotten a lot of, help in the process. Do I feel like this book would be different now if I wrote it? Yes. I think it would be. The writing would be slightly different. My characters would maybe have different motivations. I've learned a lot in 7 years. I've learned a whole lot in 7 years. I'm not projecting false confidence when I'm self-publishing my books. And maybe sometimes I am. It's a two-part answer. For example, for The Leftover Bride, would I self-publish it the way it is right now? No, I would not, because I'm not completely happy with it. I would not be super confident about it because it's not ready. Come August 18th, when The Leftover Bride will be published, I will be confident about it. That's my goal. I will not put out a work that I'm not feeling confident in, will I also project more confidence than I feel? It is possible. And the reason why it's also possible is because when you're selling your book, I believe in my books. I believe in my characters. I believe in The Leftover Bride. I believe 100%. Like I would say 110%, but technically it's not really. You can say you believe in something 110%, but can you really believe in something 110%? The Leftover Bride, I truly believe in. I can make into the best book I possibly can, and a book that I feel that readers will fall in love. I am writing it in my mind, hoping, and again, working towards, because I'm not only hoping, working towards having readers fall in love with Sorka and Ryan and Swanscove and wanting to know what happens to the other characters in the book and making them smile and giving them that moment where all they care about is, and all they think about is the story. Books, especially romance novels, have helped me so much when I was in treatment and I could not sometimes, yes, sometimes I had chemo brain and everything and it was harder to concentrate, and even reading long books were not the easiest thing. But when I could, I fell into historical romance and I could not get enough, meaning that I became one of those binge readers that I'm hoping to also attract with The Leftover Bride, where I discovered an author and I had to read everything from that author. And they gave me so much joy and so much happiness because they were getting the happily ever after or the happy for now ending. And the emotions that they were creating and everything. It's such an art. Writing romance. Yes, writing any novels. But for me right now, writing romance is such an art. To be able to write characters that give you that warm, happy feeling when you're reading them, when you're on the edge of your seat, wanting to know what happens next, even if you know that at the end there will be a happily ever after because you picked up a romance because you knew that would be the ending you're getting, but yet you're so engaged in it that your heart drops at the same time as the heroine when she's getting this little moment where she maybe is not sure it's going to end up the way she wants to. And you get this warm feeling when they're finally getting what they want and their character and plot arc are meeting in such a beautiful way. And this is what I want to create in the reader when I'm writing. And I am currently thoroughly enjoying revising The Leftover Bride because this is the feeling I'm creating in myself too as I'm revising it. I know what's going to happen. I've written the book. I know the story. And yet I have those moments where it's kind of oh, and yet, yay. This is in 2 words, my writing process. Oh, and yay. If anybody wanted to know, you can quote me on that. I'm sure it's a very scientific way of talking about a writing process. So this was a very long answer to the question, did you always just know you would write and people would read it? And where does that sort of confidence come from? That confidence, again, comes from, I think, for me right now, experience, trust in my writing, continuing learning. I never stop learning. I take classes about writing. I read other people's work. I analyze the way people, authors and screenwriters and actors, how they manage to carry on emotions. And yeah, I think that's where the confidence comes from. Is the confidence sometimes a bit, I don't want to say faked, or forced? Maybe slightly. Yeah, in the moments where I'm having, a hard time, when maybe my sales are not as good as what I think they could be, or that I get a review that pinpoints something that maybe feels like that's something indeed I could have done better. Those are moments that I think every writer gets. Nobody, writer or not, I think, is confident 100% of the time. Tell me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment on my blog, because what I will do is I will post the summary on the blog and you can leave a comment on the blog, or leave me a message. ask me a question. Maybe you can ask me something that would also have me come with a very scientific way of writing process. The aw and yay. And now a short message from our sponsor. Stay tuned. After, you'll be hearing about the struggles and smiles of my week as a self-published author. And now just a quick update on what I've been up to, the things I've been working on. For my cover reveal, so for The Leftover Bride, I had sent a newsletter to my newsletter subscribers, and I had quite a few people actually voting on their preferred cover. I had given them 2 choices. The one that won may be my favorite cover of the 2, so I'm very excited about that. And when it comes to the official cover reveal, so today, when you're listening to well, you might not be listening to this podcast on Friday, but on Friday, June 18th, I sent the official cover, the one that won, to my newsletter subscribers. I thanked them for helping me choose the cover, and I shared another exclusive excerpt from The Leftover Bride. I added a link if they would like to help me spread the cover love, because I am officially revealing the cover to the world, to the entire world, on June 25th. So on Friday, June 25th, I will reveal the cover of The Leftover Bride, my new adult rom-com, which, by the way, is already available for pre-order for 99 cents on all e-retailers. I already have 1 or 2 people who signed up to help me with the cover reveal, like spreading the cover love. That number may seem low, but I haven't sent it to my newsletter yet. And in addition, my goal is to have maybe like 5 people register for that, and then have more people afterwards sharing my posts from something that I will share. I am not planning on spending money on the cover reveal per se. Like, I'm not planning on hiring a cover reveal tour. I was thinking about doing the Giselle Espresso Book Tours one, which is, I think, about $40. But I decided against it. And the reason why I decided against it is because I am not sure how well cover reveals do these days with tours. Does it really raise that much awareness? Or should I spend those $40 that I might have spent in the cover reveal to actually get more newsletter subscribers? And by that, I mean that I will, once I have the cover, I'm going to create on BookFunnel an excerpt of The Leftover Bride, the not yet edited excerpt, so that will make it clear that it's like, hey, read something even before it's totally ready for publication. Be part of the process. See the behind the scenes of The Leftover Bride writing. And I'm going to run some Facebook ads, and I'm going to run Facebook ads for a total of $40. So what I would have spent on the cover reveal with Giselle or anybody else with another provider, because again, like, I'm sure I love working with the Espresso book tours. They've done a lot for me throughout the years, and I might try them again later on. But right now, in terms of my budget, I want to focus on having more newsletter subscribers, because I'm having fun sending emails. I'm having fun doing the podcast. I'm having fun sending emails to my readers and telling them about what I've been working on, and maybe sharing a video or 2 of Bobby and Play-Doh, or a favorite recipe, or what I'm currently watching. All those things are fun to me. So I think that's something that I need to focus more on. I also really would like to have more reviews and more people who are starting to get invested into the Swan's Cove series. And for me to do that, I need to have more people who start reading the book. And I was thinking, if I offer the first 5 chapters, like exclusive, make it sound as exciting as it is, it's very exciting, then maybe they will sign up for the newsletter. And at the end of the sample, I can write, hey, now that you're a newsletter subscriber, you'll get a chance to get the whole book before everybody else. And by the way, the pre-order price is only 99 cents. You want to help me? Do you want to make sure that I keep on writing books? Then don't hesitate to pre-order for 99 cents The Leftover Bride. And again, you'll get the full novel to read and review before everybody else. So I think that could work. And if I do $40 and I do my math skills are out of this world. If I do $5, then I can do it for 8 days. And my goal would be to then have cost per click of about maximum 50 cents, which for me would still be low in English, high for other languages. But if I have a cost per click of 50 cents, and then I have, ideally everybody who clicks on it would then put their email, but I know that's not going to be the case. So let's say I have like 50% of people who actually click and then do it, then I would get a couple of subscribers per day, which is enough as long as, the subscribers that I get are then very engaged. And that's what I'm going to test with that. I'm going to test it with those $40, and then I'll let you know how it worked. The other thing I am going to do, I'm going to spend about $10 on boosting my cover reveal post on Facebook to one of my audiences. And the reason I'm going to do that is to start getting it in front of people's eyes. The other thing I'm looking at and I'm deciding is whether or not I'm going to run Goodreads giveaway, because I feel that a Goodreads giveaway might help raise awareness about the book, have more people get excited about the book. Maybe I could also make sure, that they know that I can get the 5 chapters for free. Maybe I can even add a sample somewhere. So I'm looking at all of that. I am going to make a plan. And once I have a plan, I will share it on my website. On another note, I also, not related to writing and also related to writing, my website almost got hacked. So change your passwords if you're getting, the compromised passwords email, I guess is my message, because they try to I got an email from WordPress last night meaning June 16th. And it was about, your password has been compromised, and they tried, and apparently people have put suspicious plugins in your websites, like on all my websites. And I was like, well, that's not good. So, but then I went and I remembered that I don't pay. I'm on WordPress.com. I don't have the plan where you can add plugins. Maybe it's a fake email, like is it a phishing attack? What's happening? So I chatted with the WordPress chat, and they told me that the email was legit, but that indeed my websites did not have any, like the plugins, I could not add them. So they just told me to change my password. And yeah, so that's what I did. But that was something that took me a bit of time yesterday in terms of making sure, A, that everything was fine, B, that my websites were still there, and C, figuring out what was happening. But I need that website. I need that website because I enjoy blogging. That's one. And I also have a lot of information about my books and everything on that website. When it comes to other things I've done this week for writing and self-publishing, I have The Leftover Bride in French is now up for pre-order, and I'm going to release it in December. And I'm very, very excited about it. I will be revealing the cover when I have the English cover. Then I will make the French cover, and then everything will be revealed almost at the same time for that. And I also almost finalized the PayHip store and book funnel delivery for Always Second Best, which I need to finish today as I'm recording this. This is a goal I have for today, to finish setting up this particular store, because I'm entering a book funnel giveaway where I'm giving away Someone Like No Other, making it clear again that it's perma-free on all e-retailers, so readers are not upset about getting this where they could have gotten it for free everywhere else if they wanted to. And part of that, automation of emails will be that they can buy Always Second Best at a discounted price from me directly. So I'll keep you updated if that works. And I had something else that I've done this week. The translation. Oh yes, I'm still formatting what I was talking about last week. I'm still formatting the bilingual book of Always Second Best, Eine zweite Chance in German, the second part. And the reason why is because again, this is very frustrating. Once I think I'm done with it, there is a heading that just happens out of nowhere. So I'm almost done with that though, and I should be publishing it definitely before we talk again next week. And when it comes to The Leftover Bride, have I mentioned how excited I am about this book? I think I have. So I even shared on TikTok, I shared a teaser Tuesday using All I Want for Christmas Is You. And if you now have the song in your head, you're welcome. And it got more than 1,400 views on Instagram Reels, and it got about, I would say, 600 views on TikTok. I can tell you that at this stage, this has not resulted in any sales yet. But I think maybe as I keep on sharing more and more teasers and people realize how awesome this book sounds, I will get more pre-orders. My goal in terms of pre-order for The Leftover Bride is something I still need to define. I have something in mind, but I want to make sure that I'm being realistic because, again, The Leftover Bride in English is not the market where I'm expecting the most sales compared to my French-speaking market. However, I would like to start having a breakthrough in the English-speaking market, but I also know that having more books in the series will help me with that. So I need to set up the second book in the series for pre-order. I need to make sure I have the plan for the series, which makes me think, by the way, that Leslie of El Penelope from the podcast My Imaginary Friends, if you are a writer and you're looking of ways to get out of your, of a writing situation where you're thinking about the plot and the character, her latest episode was great. And she says something about, I have to realize this is the kind of writer I am when it comes to some characters and plotting and everything. And it was very, it spoke to me. She spoke to me a lot with that sentence, realizing what kind of writer I am. And this is a topic for another podcast because otherwise this episode is going to be way too long. But yeah, so basically what I'm saying is listen to El Penelope's podcast. I will put the link in the show's description. And yes, this is it for today. Happy writing if you're a writer, and everybody, happy reading.